Tonight, we have extremely graphic new video that reveals the very real horrors of human trafficking, and it's happening every single day at our southern border. This is a true nightmare that the Biden administration is doing nothing to resolve, real lives being destroyed. Senator Cruz will be here with us. He will show us this video. We'll respond to that. Plus, a bombshell new claim from a government whistleblower. Oh, I thought the Democrats love whistleblowers. Detailing how a few high-ranking federal officials now attempted to cover up and downplay possible crimes committed by the president's son, Hunter Biden. We have that full report tonight, and also tonight a major announcement from the vice president. Take a look. Here's a tease.
A woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
We're going to play the full cringeworthy remarks. That's coming up. But first, we begin with what top economists are calling a perfect storm, and it's one for you of pain and suffering. Today, the Consumer Confidence Index declined for the third straight month. The drop was even larger than expected. Driving these numbers, 91 million of your fellow Americans, adults, who are now unable to afford everyday household expenses because of Joe Biden's inflation and his energy policies. All told, 40% of Americans are now having difficulty just paying their bills. Now, this includes half of all senior citizens. They cannot afford essential expenses. Meanwhile, foreclosures, they're on the rise. New home sales, they have dropped to a 24-month low. Motor vehicles, well, the repo man is back. They're being repossessed at an alarming rate. And in the peak of summer, this is sad for kids. I used to love when the ice cream truck came by, Mr. Softy, Good Humor. Even ice cream trucks are now being forced off the streets. They can't afford the insane price of diesel to run their truck. Even retail giant Walmart just warned investors that profits, they're drying up and a slowdown is imminent. We're in the middle of it. Sadly, it's only going to get worse from here. Buckle up. The Fed is expected to announce another major rate hike. That should take place tomorrow. We expect 75 basis points. In other words, 3/4 of a full point. Interest rate increase, maybe a full basis point. And on Thursday, the second quarter GDP, 2 days from now, it's going to reveal whether or not officially the U.S. is in a recession. The Atlanta Fed, they are predicting a contraction in the second quarter of 1.6%. Now, keep in mind, this is important. It shouldn't be important, but it is important only because of the Biden administration lying. The historic barometer for or definition of a recession is 2 straight quarters of negative growth. Last quarter, the U.S. recorded 1.6%, minus 1.6% growth, negative growth. This quarter, the economy also expected to be in the red. Now, instead of making a course correction, facing the truth, facing reality that we're in a recession, and focusing on changing failed policies to revive our economy, lift this burden of inflation at a 41-year high, the record high gas prices we're paying, the Biden administration, they're more interested in parsing words and playing word games. Now, for 2 weeks, the White House has been trying to rewrite the official definition of a recession into something very obscure and nebulous. And simply, if you're charitable, you'll say they're spinning you. If you're a realist like I am, you'll say they're outright lying to us. And then to make matters worse, they are now vowing that the U.S. is definitely not headed towards a recession. Joe Biden said it this week, God willing, whatever that means. Now, today, our very own Peter Doocy was on his A-game asking Biden's very nervous-looking economic advisor about this very shady approach to redefine what is a standard definition of a recession. I can't believe. Is it a recession? Can you define what a woman is? These are the questions society is asking now every day. Take a look.
The president's economic advisors were telling us last year that inflation was going to be temporary. That's not true. Now the president's economic advisors are saying there's not going to be a recession. Are you sure?
Well, let me just say this. We look at a range of data, we assess that data, and we lay it out for ourselves and for the president. But you don't have to take our word on this.
You know what? I'll stick with that part. We won't take your word on this or pretty much anything else. After the inflation is mere transitory, after that lie, after Joe Biden announced in December, we've now reached the peak of inflation. That was 7%. It's now 9.1, the consumer price index. Why would we trust anything that they're saying? Here's the cold, hard truth the administration won't tell you, but you and your families need to know so you can prepare for where we are. We are in a time of stagflation, barreling towards a full-blown recession. It will probably be deep. There will not be, well, any type of soft landing, as they call it. Americans are now struggling to pay their bills, fill up their gas tanks, and even put food on the table. Inflation is at a 41-year high. The Biden administration is doing nothing to produce more energy, oil, gas, coal, reopen refineries, or curtail government spending. Nearly every single thing that caused inflation to spike in the first place is now still in place. Now, the administration can call this economic suffering pretty much whatever they want, but it won't change the dire reality. As one top economist told Bloomberg, any prediction of a shallow downturn is totally delusional. Take a look.
Well, now the consensus view is becoming that hard landing is likely as opposed to a soft landing. But now people say, well, be short, shallow, mild, plain vanilla, garden variety. I beg to disagree. I think there are many reasons why we're going to have a severe recession and a severe debt and financial crisis. So the idea this is going to be short and shallow, it's totally delusional.
By the way, Rubini predicted the collapse in 2008. Unfortunately, the Biden White House, they're totally delusional right now. According to them, the environment has been saved because we're now importing oil from what? Russia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, OPEC, instead of producing it right here at home. According to them, trillions and trillions of dollars in new spending and printing had nothing to do with inflation. According to Biden, well, he created a record number of jobs when in reality, we have yet to fully recover all the lost jobs from the COVID shutdown. Even Biden's, persona as middle-class Joe is completely delusional because under Biden's radical climate cult-inspired agenda, poor middle-class people on fixed incomes, especially those on fixed incomes, they are getting squeezed the most. They are suffering under these policies, these economic policies, these energy policies. They're the ones that are struggling to buy the gas. They're the ones having a hard time buying food, never mind food that they like. They've already made that adjustment. And now Biden's only solution, let him eat cake. Buy an electric vehicle at 65 grand. Where are you going to get the 65 grand? Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.